This morning, we are here to continue with the Unit 2, and perhaps, if time permits, we move on to the Unit 3. So we started with the research process, where we looked at the research problem, that is the universe, and then the deriving of the topic, where we said that the ingredients in the topic should be such that the topic should reflect the problem to be studied, the target population, and the study site. Ideally, your research shouldn't be more than 15 words. So now you have your topic, you have set the tone, and you have to move. But somewhere along the line, you need to tell us the problem that brought you to this topic. Realize that the first stage is that you have the problem. And based on the problem, after asking yourself so many questions, and then coming to conclusion that these questions that I've asked, I have no answers for, and it has ignited my curiosity, and therefore I am going to look at so and so. It sets the tone. You have your topic. Now, you come back and you have to tell us the problem in absolute and concrete and precise and concise form, so that we also, the readers, will know that this is your problem. What is a problem? A problem is basically a discrepancy detected between what it is and what it should be. What it is and what it should be. What it is and what it should be. On the norm, when persons are diagnosed as living with hypertension, on the norm, they are educated to modify their lifestyle. That is what it should be. What it is that they do not, they find it difficult to modify the lifestyle. They find it difficult to modify. Sorry, what it is that they come with complications. And what is the discrepancy? They find it difficult to modify their lifestyle. So normally, when you are talking about the problem, you have to ask yourself some questions. Why does the problem exist? Is there more than one possible cause or reason for the problem? Are there possible causes, or are there interdependent reasons? And so these things come into your mind, and many more questions. You need to raise a lot of questions so that you'll be able to be clearer on whatever you want. And so you need to define the problem very clearly. This thing that I'm saying, you will not see the essence of it. When you go to level 400 first semester and you are assigned a supervisor, that is where you will come back and say, yeah, the woman said it. You realize that sometimes when we, the supervisors, read your problem statement, actually there is no problem. You see people talking about the universe, talking about West Africa, talking about so and so. You read, sometimes you can even read 3 pages problem statement, there's no problem. You can even read 2 pages, there's no problem. 1 page, there's no problem. Because you don't even know how to state your problem. But you need to state it clearly so that there will be no inadequate solutions. You state it clearly, then you can solve your problem. The purpose of a problem statement is to introduce the reader the importance of the topic being studied. Then it also anchors the research questions, the hypothesis, and then the assumptions. So it places your topic in a particular context and provides you with a framework for reporting your results. Now, when you want to state your problem, I said that there's a criteria for a good problem statement. You want to state your problem as clearly as possible. You want to state, you see, problem statements shouldn't be long. Problem statement, 1-page problem statement, there's a question mark. 2 pages, then you are over the bar. 3 pages, then you are done. It's like you don't have anything to say. Because with writing a problem statement, you are hitting the hammer on the nail, not the side, on the head of the nail, so that whoever is reading your work knows that, yes, this problem exists. Yes, there is a problem. And so the criteria for a good problem statement is that a good problem statement should indicate that there is a gap. When we read it, we should know that, yes, there's a problem. There's something here, and that something needs to be done. Then you tell us about the major factors that contribute or are likely to contribute to the problem or the gap you are looking at. And then the consequences. The consequences. So what is the gap? The gap is the ideal situation or the expected situation minus the real or the current situation. In between, that is what you call the discrepancy, detected discrepancy. Ideally, what is supposed to be the thing, or the expectation, what is supposed to be the expectation. Then the real or the current situation, what is the situation on ground? What is the situation on ground? Ideally, when you are paid, let's say you are paid the first day of the month, it is expected that if the month is 31 days, you should be able to spend your salary within the 31 days. What is the real situation? Some of us, by the 5th of the month or the 3rd like this, the money is finished. That is the real situation. What then is the discrepancy? Is it inadequate funds, or is it misuse of funds, or what? What is the discrepancy? And therefore, in trying to write or state your gap, you should be able to state the nature of the problem. That is the discrepancy between the ideal situation and the current situation. What is the ideal? What is the current situation? So when you take the current situation from the ideal, what is left? The what is left is your gap. Then in trying to do so, you have to indicate who, what, and where is affected. Is very necessary. In trying to tell us about the gap, these ingredients are also necessary. And then you quantify the problem. Empirical inquiry to produce verifiable knowledge. What is the quantum? If you are saying that persons living with hypertension come in with complications because they do not modify their lifestyle. Lifestyle modification has become a challenge. If you take 20 persons living with hypertension visiting the hypertension clinic, how many of them come with complications as a result of lack of lifestyle modification? That is the quantity or how much of the problem we are talking about. And so if we say what? Specific definition of the exact health-related problem. What is the problem? Sometimes you ask students, what is the problem? Hey, madam, the problem, what is the problem? You have brought your topic. What problem led you to have that topic? So what is your problem? How much? What is the magnitude of the problem? Who is involved when it comes to the problem you are telling us time of occurrence of the problem, and then where that is the geographic location. It can be the hospital, the district, the neighborhood, the place of residence, or whatever location. This will help you identify your gaps. I help you identify your gap. And so you have your gap there. That is the first point, or let's say the first paragraph. Then, so lifestyle modification, facility X. My facility is called X, where who cases, all cases reported, persons living with hypertension. How much? 72% of persons living with hypertension from the visiting the facility X come with complications as a result of lack of their ability to modify their lifestyle in the past 12 months. In the past 12 months. I would have written my thing. Then what are the major problems that are likely to contribute to the lack of lifestyle modification among persons living with hypertension? Some of the factors can be insufficient funds. Some of the factors can be adjusting to some lifestyle by the person is becoming a challenge for the person. And then you come to the consequences. Someone say consequences. Consequences. What are some of the consequences when it comes to lifestyle modification? Lack of lifestyle modification. The person can get complications such as diabetes and then other stuff. Are there other social consequences? The morbidity, and so you say all these things. And then when I say it, my students will be laughing. When you say all these things in good, correct English, sometimes you get either half a page or not so half a page, because you are saying all these things nicely. What do you need a whole page or 1.5 page document for? Then as you have told us about the gap, you have told us about the consequence and factors, and you've told us about the consequences, you conclude your problem statement by telling us the purpose of the study. They come with complications because they are not able to modify their lifestyle. 72% in the last 12 months have visited facility S with complications of hypertension. Major factors that are likely to contribute to hypertension, likely to contribute to the lack of lifestyle modification, are financial constraints and person's inability to adjust to the lifestyle or habits or customs that he or she is used to. When persons living with hypertension do not modify their lifestyle, it can lead to diabetes, renal failure, and if not managed properly, they can lose their lives. It is in view of this that this research seeks to assess lifestyle modification, or seeks to assess factors contributing to lifestyle modification, or seeks to assess knowledge of lifestyle modification, or seeks to assess challenges or barriers. And so the moment you say this, it sets the tone for your research, and it brings the focus. It means that you are forsaking all others. Like you go and stand in front of the priest and the congregation to say that you are marrying so and so. When you say you are marrying so and so, it means that you are forsaking all others. If you tell me that you want to look at barriers, it means that you are forsaking knowledge, you are forsaking management practices, you're forsaking factors, you're forsaking challenges, and you are restricting yourself to barriers. And so I don't have to see any new thing anywhere. Focus on your barriers, or focus on your challenges, or focus on your knowledge, or focus on your factors, or focus on your practices. The purpose of the study, the moment you write it, sets the focus of the study, sets the tone for you, and you are in business to do your research. Any questions at this point? Questions, contributions at this point? Any? We are taking them bit by bit. Then we move to the next level. Any questions when it comes to problem statement? Yes, George, your hand is up.
Thank you, Madam.
Please, I can't hear you.
To have but I'm saying that is it advisable to have more than two discrepancies? Like the example
when you are
you stated.
talking and you swallow some of your words, where do you expect me to get the words from? You are asking a question, you are swallowing some of the words. How do I get it? Your network is bad.
I'm saying that, Madam, in your problem statement, is it
in whose
advisable to
problem
have
statement? My problem statement.
the research? No, the research problem statement. So, Madam, in the research problem statement, is it advisable to have more than one discrepancy?
Where one discrepancy means what?
Let me use the example to clarify myself. With the hypertension case, you realize that we identified lack of lifestyle modification. That was the example you used. But in a case where it's not only lack of lifestyle modification, that is a discrepancy or the gap. But there's also inadherence to medication instruction by patients.
Is it not part of lifestyle modification? Is it not part of lifestyle modification? Me, I'm not a medicine person, but that one I know. Is it not like a part of lifestyle modification? The person has come with complications. The person has come with complications. That is the current situation. The ideal situation is that when you have been diagnosed as having hypertension, you need to manage it. And one of the ways of managing it is to modify your lifestyle, because on the norm, you wouldn't be taking daily medication. So you have to do these things. And this person comes in with complications, and they realize that the person is not being able to modify the lifestyle. That is where your problem is coming from. That is why you want to research into lifestyle modification. And when it comes to lifestyle modification, we have the physical activity, we have the compliance to drug regimen therapy. So they are all parts. You see, research is such that is why when you see the universe, the challenges, so you are there, you are that place, people are coming in with complications. It is up to you. It is up to you, the researcher or whoever is interested in hypertension research, to identify whether whatever they are bringing is as a result of a whole lifestyle modification, or you want to look at non-compliance. That's why these days I don't want to cite examples. The point is this, but you cannot teach without also citing examples so that people understand it well. It's a field. And so as the hypertension field is there, you are at the clinic, you are not the only person, you have other colleagues there. Everybody is thinking. That's why you are going to be giving a set of preamble, and all of you, the groups will be thinking. Everybody is thinking. Somebody thinks and views it that the person, this one, that the person came with complications. You realize that when it comes to the other things, the person is able to do that, but there is non-compliance to drug therapy. If that is the case, then that should be, your problem should center around this, and then you go and look at factors contributing to non-compliance or challenges or barriers. That is how it is viewed. The same hypertension and complications, somebody is going to view it as lack of lifestyle modification. Somebody is going to view it as lack of knowledge of even lifestyle modification. If when I was citing the example, when it came to the purpose of the study, if you had listened attentively, you realize that I said more than one. I talked about knowledge, so it means that somebody can actually look at knowledge. I talked about barriers, somebody could look at barriers. I talked about factors, somebody could look at factors. I talked about challenges, somebody could look at challenges. Please, when we are teaching, pay attention. It helps you. It's just that with online studies, attention span for some of you is zero, because your device is here, all right, you are nursing a client, and so your attention is divided. Some of you, you are working, and so you are greeting people, or people are greeting you, so your attention is minimal. Please pay attention, in my class especially, because I say a lot of things that you might not find it in my slides or anything. So attention is very necessary here. George, are you okay now?
Yes, madam.
Any other issues? Any other issues with the problem statement? Any other issues with the problem statement? The reason why we will do the presentation is this. When you do the presentations, yes, all these challenges will come out. We are going to tackle it, and then it will come out, and we will try to iron them so that all of us will understand and be on the same page. And so if there are no questions, then let's move. Now we have managed to write our problem. So everybody that sees or reads our work knows that, yes, the challenge that we are having here is that the problem is lack of lifestyle modification. And so we are looking at barriers to lifestyle modification among persons living with hypertension. That is the purpose. That is the purpose. The purpose. And so once you have stated your purpose, I tell you that the purpose of the study is perhaps the most important single sentence in your work. The most important single sentence in your work. So I have seen that, yes, they lack lifestyle modification. 72% out of the persons living with hypertension in the past 12 months who has visited the facility S, have complications as a result of lack of lifestyle modification. Thus, the factors that contribute to this, some of the major factors are financial constraints, inadequate knowledge, and difficulty in adjusting to habits and customs. When lifestyle, persons living with hypertension do not modify their lifestyle and do the things that they usually do, this can result in complications such as diabetes, renal failure, cardiovascular accidents. It is in the light of this that this researcher seeks to assess barriers hindering barriers to lifestyle modification among persons living with hypertension in what facility X. So this purpose, in conjunction with your problem statements, guides the focus of the research. It means that henceforth, all that you'll be talking about, all that you'll be measuring, all that you'll be seeking answers for will be barriers. Barriers. What is preventing these people? What are the things that are preventing these persons living with hypertension to modify their lifestyle? Because we've told them that this is not, it is manageable. It's a condition that is manageable. And you're going to live with this condition. But if you will live long and then avoid complications, you need to modify the lifestyle. And the problem is that they can't modify the lifestyle. They're finding it difficult, challenging enough to modify the lifestyle. And therefore, we have set the tone. We have set the tone and we are saying that we are interested in looking at the barriers, the thing that is hindering them. We are so much interested in looking at the barriers. And so once you have your purpose of the study, you have your research questions, it guides you, the purpose of the study guides you with regards to the kind of research questions to ask, the kind of methodology to use, and then the kind of data analysis to use. All these things are guided by the purpose of the study. And once you have stated the purpose of the study, it brings you to the research objectives. So now that you say that you are interested in looking at barriers to identification, barriers to modification of lifestyle, blah, 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 what do you intend to measure? And we also say that the research objective is derived from the purpose of the study. And so I want to determine barriers to lifestyle modification. Lifestyle modification. I want to determine barriers that prevent persons living with hypertension from modifying their lifestyle. That is what I want to do. That is the general objective. The objective is also a clear statement of something that needs to be accomplished over time. Something that needs to be accomplished over time. So you have been asking your questions, then you have your topic, then now you have set your purpose, and the purpose has informed you. So you are interested in looking at the factor, the barriers that hinder, barriers that prevent persons living with hypertension from modifying their lifestyle. And with this, we have the general or the main objective and then the specific objective. When you are setting your objective, one thing you should have in mind is that whatever objective that you want to set, there should be, the objective should flow logically. The objective should flow logically. The objective should align with the purpose of your study. Your objective should align with whatever you are doing. And the whatever you are doing is the purpose. In Chi, they ask, what is the purpose of this study? The purpose is to assess barriers. And so if your purpose to assess barriers, how are you going to measure the barriers? That is what brings you to the objective. And your objective should be smart. Objective should be smart. It should be specific. It should be significant. It should be simple. It should be measurable. It should be achievable. It should be realistic, and it should be time-bound. You sometimes you see students writing a whole paragraph as an objective. A whole paragraph as an objective. Objective is a single sentence. It should, you see, it should be clearly stated. When I read your objective, I should know that this is your objective. Main objective, to determine barriers that prevent persons living with hypertension from modification of their lifestyle. That is my main objective. It is big. That is what I want to do. But I cannot carry this cross to the field or to wherever. And so I need to break them down into smaller components. That is where the specific objective comes in. And so please, the specific objective of your study is helping you to achieve your main objective. The specific objective is helping you to achieve your main objective. You are breaking components down. I want to carry a table from the theater to the ward. The door of the theater is very small and the table is big. I realize that I can collapse the table and make the table smaller, so that when I collapse the table and make it smaller, I can take it out. Then I can unfold the table so that the table becomes the bigger table that it is. That is specific objectives. You break the main objectives into smaller components so as to be able to measure and design your data collection tool. When you are done, at the end of it all, it will still come back to the main objective or the barrier that you are looking for. Any questions? Whilst I was teaching, somebody's hand was up. Desist from this. Yes, Ebenezer, how may we help you?
Okay. I want to clarify something. From the example you are giving us, you are using to cite the problem statement. You know that patients come to the hospital with complications after giving them diabetes mellitus treatment, either by medication or by counseling. As they come back with the complication, how do you know the specific? How do you know that, oh, majority of them have come back because they have difficulty in lifestyle modification?
How do I know?
There is a research? Yes, is it that it's a
When we
research
are
that
teaching, you will not listen. It is your hand that you are interested in raising. How will I know? How will you know that there are challenges in your facility? How will you know? Don't you have data? Don't you take data? When they come, don't you take data from them? You don't take data from them. When somebody comes to your hospital and the person has diabetes, you said you have canceled the person. When you cancel somebody, you expect that behavior change should happen. So when the person comes back and there's no behavior change, but the person rather comes with complications, don't you ask the person questions? Or you don't ask them any questions? You are all nurses, so it's not him alone. Answer the question. Anybody at all can answer the question.
Please, madam, we do ask them questions, especially when we treat them, they go home and come back with the same problem. But sometimes the answers they do give us.
In future, you raise your hand. Otherwise, if everybody decides to talk without being called, there will be chaos. Continue. Your surrounding is even
Madam,
where
yes,
somebody is calling somebody.
Please, the answers they sometimes give us are not, should I say, quote, reasonable. Let's say we treat a child of malaria, they go home, and in the next, let's say, a week and some days, they come back with the same condition. Can we say, from his example and then the one I just gave, can we have some conclusions on it?
What was his example anyway? Yes, Jamila, your hand is up.
Madam, please, I want to answer the question that my colleague just asked. When we are in the hospital, we do record certain conditions. Like, let me take it for instance, if you have diabetes mellitus, you see that this person comes to the hospital with diabetes mellitus. Another person comes to the hospital with diabetes mellitus. At the end of the day, we'll take it like 3 months. Then we'll bring all these things together. Then we'll come to a conclusion and finalize the reason why these people are coming out with this kind of complications. So I want to answer him. That's how we collect data on a condition.
He was asking, how will I know? How will I know that?
That's what I'm answering I'm answering him. I'm trying to answer his question for him. When you're in the hospital, we collect data on a condition. So at the end of the day, we'll combine everything and see if more people are having diabetes mellitus, then we have to keep it and take it as a research and go further into it and see the reason why these people are coming to the facility.
What you are saying, some of the information were distorted, but you gather them and use it as research topic there. This one there, I have issues. Yes, Gertrude.
Good morning, ma'am. Please, with what Adongo was asking, that how would you know that this is the problem facing the clients, making him or her have complications after treatment? So with this, let's say when the person was being discharged, you asked him or her to be coming for review, or there were certain medications prescribed, or probably you ask the client to desist from certain lifestyles, for example, let's say taking of alcohol. So when the person keeps coming back, you would now interact with him or her probably, maybe, mommy, I asked you to probably purchase this medication. Were you able to? So from the answers they give, based on your question about the review points you give them, that is what will lead you to know the exact barrier. Probably the person wasn't able to purchase the medication, or he or she is not able
It
to
will not
stop
lead you to the exact barrier. There will be speculations. You let me listen to everybody. Yes, Edward.
Okay, good morning, ma'am. Thank you.
Don't come and be greeting me. I've said that somebody makes a mistake and you come and also reinforce it. Haven't we greeted ourselves?
Sorry, ma'am. Okay, so like what my sister was saying.
You don't have a sister here. It's either your colleague or your mate. Don't make any reference. Say whatever you want to say.
Okay, so it will based on the history you collect from the client. Like somebody has come with a condition, let's say diabetes mellitus. Other person too has come with it. You see that the complications these two clients will come with the next time is different. So in your findings, you find out from any of them, like the treatment regimen as she went to the house or he went to the house, were he able to purchase the drug? Were he able to adhere to the treatment regimen and the advices that you gave to him or her, that you should do this, you should do that? If the answers the person will give will enable you to know what he has been doing in the absence of you being there to help him or get in his drug.
Okay, Samuel.
Madam, as my mate said, when they come, one of the things that will help you know the complication is to ask them. They can ask, oh, how many times do you take your medication? Or how many often do you eat? Do you eat this type of food, or do you eat this kind of food? So as you ask the person, or as you interact with the patient, it will give you further information. And if even possible, you can even ask a relative, or if that person is not staying afar, you can even go home and see how the patient lives and how the patient takes his or medication. Some might have assistants in the house which will explain things to you.
I don't know why you people are raising all these issues. You are all, either you are deviating or you think that all these things patients will tell you. But as a professional, when somebody comes in with complications of something, don't you know some of the things that are likely to contribute to that? Don't you know? So when we say data, yes, somebody comes. A fool will not even tell you what brought him or her to at that level. But you know that, yes, somebody has been diagnosed as having so and so and so. They have come back and there is the likelihood. So there are assumptions. There are assumptions. When the biostats lecturer tells and teaches you hypothesis, you realize that there are assumptions. Most of the researches that you do are speculations. And then based on these speculations, your curiosity ignites. And then that is why you are interested in looking at the barriers. And when you are able to use the people that came in with complications, you might end up getting to know the actual barriers. Ebenezer, why is your hand up?
Ma'am, please, I was the one that asked the question, how will you know? And now that you've made a statement that they are assumptions, it means that a lot of assumptions why the patient will come back with a particular complication. But in your statement, you mentioned that in stating the problem, it should be the quantity. Like you made mention of
But don't you take
75%.
records, Master? Don't bring that. Don't. I don't know what you are thinking. I'm not telling you that the people that have come just now should be your quantification. In research, we have unadulterated evidence and we have empirical evidence. So all the observations that everybody has been talking about here are things that lead to complications of either the diabetes or the hypertension. But you take data, the number of people that have come with complications. Don't you have data?
We have data.
Is it not the evidence of the complications that have come? When you state the problem, do you state problems about what people have done? Or you are stating the problem based on the number of people that have presented with complications? Problem statement. I am still citing my example. What it should be, the expected and the current. The expected is that they should be able to modify their lifestyle and then live a normal life without complications. What is the current situation? They've come with complications. They have come with complications. It means that there's something wrong. And there's something that is wrong. That discrepancy is their inability to modify their lifestyle. That is what the something that is wrong. And so realize that if 90% of persons live, you have diagnosed 95 people as living with hypertension. Out of the 95 of them, 45 or 50 come to the hospital with complications. That is the data we are talking about. Now, when you talk of the factors, these are things that people have even done to tell you that these are some of the factors that contribute to lack of modification. And so you talk about these factors, some of these major factors. What do you think are some of the major factors that will make somebody not modify the lifestyle? What will make somebody who have complications, who have been diagnosed as having diabetes or hypertension, come with complications? What do you think are some of the factors that are likely? And then some of these factors, there are researchers who have done work on them, and so you can quote them and then cite them. What are the consequences? They are known consequences. And so you, at that point, you don't know the barriers, or at that point, you don't know what is hindering them. All that you have been saying in your head is like, from your viewpoint, it is speculation. You are now entering into the research to come out with the barriers. So at that point that you are trying to talk about the magnitude of the problem, it is not your problem. It is data that you have collected that is showing evidence that a lot of them, because the moment you say that I'm going into this, it means that there is a problem. And you just want to quantify your problem for us to know that, yes, many of the persons that have been diagnosed as having hypertension are coming in with complications. Some of the factors might be as a result of their inability to even change their diet, their inability to change their physical activity, their inability to comply to medications. All these things are factors that might contribute to the complications they are coming with. And from where you are viewing it, you feel that they are coming in with the complications because they have not been able to modify their lifestyle. Somebody will also be sitting there and say that they are coming in with complications because they lack knowledge about how to modify their lifestyle. Somebody will also sit at the same clinic and say that they are coming with complications because they are not complying to the drug regimen they have been given. And so research is dynamic. All these things that I've said, it can be somebody's purpose of the study. But there is data that shows that they are coming in with complications. That is the data we are talking about, not the data you are asking them. The data you are going to ask them is what you go and collect. And you come and tell us that 10%, depending on the methodology that you use, 10%, or depending whether you want to do a qualitative work, you come and then let people share their experiences and their views. So the data is not there. So if you have the data about why they are having the complication, why will you be conducting the work? Then it means that you need a different topic altogether. The data is what you have. I believe home visits are also a nice way to further understand the problem. How many times you do home visits? It means that the question there, you people even deviated. You are thinking about different things. Let's get the preamble. Use that preamble. Go and think about them. Do it, and let's come back here and talk about it. You are sitting in your facility. You take data. So you know the number of persons that have been diagnosed with diabetes, let's say, for the past 1 year. You know for the past 1 year, out of this number that come in with complication. This is your data. This is your data. So they are coming and you are asking them. How that you are asking them is when you are ready to get the information. But the data that you need to support your thing depends on how you talk about your discrepancy. Yes, Prince.
Ma'am, please, doesn't mean we are going to be using our annual report from the ward to do the research or to get the proof.
I didn't hear what he said.
On the ward, that is and then our
Please,
annual
I
report.
don't hear what you are saying because I don't know whether you have the network challenges or I have it. It frustrates.
Okay.
So start. Otherwise, type it so I read. Type it, then I read. And now his network has taken him out. Which problem are you talking about? Your annual review, which problem are you talking about? Praise, which problem are you talking about? When somebody reviews a document, there's a report. We have secondary data collection. It's not every research that is supposed to be primary data collection. So there's already existing data in there, and then you want to review what documents, the documents there. There's an existing data, and you feel that I want to use this data. New cases that visited the ward or the facility, annual reports. The annual report, you have so many reports. Some people have the hospital records. Some people have the annual report. If the annual report is specific to whatever you are doing, why not? The annual report. But make sure that whatever data or whatever information you are using is not old. Somebody is in 2024, the person is looking at a problem, and you are looking at a problem in 1998. Don't you know that that problem might have been solved? So you can use but where are you going to get the empirical evidence? If it's not reports, records, and blah, 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 where are you going to get them? That's why I said there are anecdoted and empirical. The anecdoted are the observations. You are in a clinic and you have observed that maybe 2 out of 8 that visit the clinic comes with complications. You don't have any data to support it. It's anecdotal. It's just through observation. Somebody says that the records, the annual records from the district, annual records from the sub-district, annual records from the hospital shows that blah, blah, blah. And so, yes, you can. You review the document, and then based on the figures is there. And so when you talk of evidence, or when you talk of you citing or telling us the magnitude of the problem, it doesn't mean that it should be fresh. It depends. It depends on what you are doing as a researcher. It depends. And so don't make this rigid. No, you are the facility. Maybe according to MENSAH, records from MENSAH, not necessarily records from the diabetic clinic. It's an annual report that broke down. Because why are you going to get it? You are not at the record session. So why are you going to get it? So you go to the right source. And sometimes people want to also reinforce it that there's a problem. So there have been observations. And this is the empirical evidence backing the observation that they come with complications. They have come with complications. You diagnose 50, and out of the 50, after they've gone through the counseling and everything, some of them, you go to the extra mile of even getting them dietitians, nutritionists, and all those things. So you've done all these things for them, but you realize that they are still coming with complications. You see, sometimes when people come with complications, it is not all complications that is as a result of lifestyle modification. This is one. Non-compliance can also be a topic. That is there. Somebody, you can even do a qualitative study to find out people's experiences. And there you can also realize that they have issues that maybe you haven't thought about it. When it comes to lifestyle modification, I've seen a lot of studies on quantitative. People think that let's quantify it, but that is the easiest thing. That is a living thing. Blah, blah, blah. Somebody says that, can it be? Don't be asking me. Go and sit down and then think about things. That's why we teach. We teach you, you cannot grasp the whole concept there and then. Sit down, think about it, and pause. That is why I'm also going to give you preamble so that we have examples. Please, can it be the total number of patients? I sat here and I told you persons living with something, and you are calling them patients. I just said something. Example, DM, and the total number of males and females with DM plus their ages. What are you going to use this information for? What are you going to use this information for? Somebody might want to conduct a prevalence study on persons living with diabetes, a prevalence study using existing data, let's say 5 years. existing data for 5 years, and you want to look at the trends of DM among persons living with DM, nurses and shortcuts. So me, I also use your shortcuts for you. Then you can then look at males, you can look at females, you can look at even age range, you can look at occupation, you can look at education, you can look at health literacy rate, and all these things. This is a secondary data. You are not going to ask questions from anybody, but the data is there and you are using it. And so if that is what you are talking about, then yes. But if you are going to break the total number of males and females with DM plus their ages, to do what exactly? With this, I don't understand, but at least I've told you one way you can do that to get whatever you want. So Nancy, let's jojo and let me know what you actually mean by this. Any other issues? Any other issues? Because we need to finish Unit 2. Then I tell you a very nice story. Any questions? Are we clear on the problem statement versus the purpose of the study and the objective of the study? And that is where my universe preamble comes in handy. Every cohort of group will have to bring their own thing and then we talk about it. Yes, Dinku.
Please, madam. Several of our colleagues are saying that the network took them off, and then since then they haven't been able to join again. That the information that they are getting is that the participant limit is full.
Please, and please, and please, let today be the very last time you will tell me this in my class. I beg you in the name of God. As I am sitting here, my network can take me off because I don't control network. That is one. Two, I am not administrator of GCUC Zoom. I am a teacher. And so if somebody's network has taken the person off and the person can't join, that is the person's wahala. Me yesterday, when I was teaching one class, my network took me off. I switched to another network. It didn't work. It took me 10 to 15 minutes before I came on the platform again. If I wasn't able to come on the platform, nobody will beat me. I am not the network, please. This thing, reps, tell your people, I don't want to hear this thing in my class. Neither do I want to hear it when I'm doing the presentations. Network, nobody has control over network. That is why right from the beginning, I told everybody, get a good network. My house, Vodafone doesn't work. But they say, Airtel, Tigo, or whatever, it doesn't work. The only network that works in my house is MTN. And you know that these days, MTN is getting worse off. I have a TurboNet. I have a MiFi. I can use my hotspot. At some point, all these three can disappoint and fail me. There's nothing anybody can do about network. So please, when I am teaching, I don't want to hear network issues. The capacity of this is 500 and you are 300. And so if they are also claiming that they say it is full, they should check which one they are using. Please, capacity 500 plus. Never raise your hand to tell me about your colleagues that are outside the class. Nobody puts them there. It's unfortunate, but life goes on. I thought we were coming to ask something about what you are teaching. Dinko, don't do that again.
Okay, madam. Thank you. Yes,
You're welcome.
we should say.
They should pray that their network comes. Me, yesterday, I spent 15 minutes trying to come and teach. Like today, I'm blessed that I am still here. Sometimes the network can frustrate you. Very frustrating. All right, so we have no issues. Let's finish with Unit 2 quickly. And then I tell you a love story. All right, so if there's no perfect research, every research has flaws, but the minimum the flaws, the better for you. But every research is limited one way or the other. Sometimes the limitation can be as a result of the methodology. Like I was saying, you might want to know in-depth, get in-depth information and experiences from persons living with hypertension, but you go and choose a quantitative study and you don't get the in-depth knowledge. Sometimes you might want to do something to get the numbers. You want to know numbers. You want to determine the numbers that have something, and you have used qualitative. It means that the limited, your methodology was limited. Sometimes design, you will think that let me do descriptive study, but actually an analytical study would have been better. And so you are limited. Sometimes even the sample size, you proposed to, let's say, use 100 sample. You go into the field and you don't get 100, you get 80. It is limited. So limitations are those characteristics either of the design or the methodology that influence the application of your study or interpretation of the result of your study. And you will have to state it in your work. You will have to state it. If there was language barrier, you have to state it. And how did you correct that? If you are looking at record bias, you have to state it. If you are talking about financial constraints, time constraints, and all these things, you talk about your limitations. We say that the limitations are what the researcher cannot do. You can't do. When you say that your sample size is 100 and your study population is adolescent, it means that you are going to look for 100 adolescents, let's say age 15 to 19. You go to the community and realize that the adolescents, some have gone to school, if you are doing the community work, some have gone somewhere, and so you didn't get your 100 and you got 80. You cannot go and take young adults and add them as adolescents. It has reminded me of something. A lady was doing her defense, and her study, I think her study site was maternal and child health care at that time. And I had also supervised somebody who has also done a work on maternal and child health. So I knew the number of doctors, the number of nurses, blah, 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 there. So this lady did her presentation. At that time, I think the number of doctors there, they were 4 or so. Then in her presentation, she said that she used maternal and child health, and then she had, I think, 6 doctors, blah, blah. Like the figures were suspicious. So I asked her, how many doctors are there actually in the maternal and child health care? Then this lady said 4. So we asked her, so where did you get the 2 from? For you to now say that they were 6. Where did you get them from? Then this lady said that she needed to use 6. She said she proposed to use 6 without her knowing the number of doctors in there. So she went to Kumasi South Hospital to interview 2 doctors. And then she forged that the 2 doctors were coming from maternal. We all laughed at her. She was like, you see, she didn't even understand what she did. She felt that if she needed to use 6 doctors and the study site has 4, she could just go and borrow doctors from somewhere to make it 6. What kind of sampling is that? What kind of even study is that? We laughed. Hey, students, you can do things. It is not your fault. You proposed to use 6. You went there and they were 4. Use the 4. Don't go and carry something from, is it mathematics? It is not mathematics. It's research. Research is dynamic. Research is dynamic. Hold on. Hey, why now? Hello. Am I safe? Sorry, I'm the only person in my house and I've heard noises. I don't know where it is coming from. I needed to go and check. All right, so that is limitation of the study. These are elements that is outside the control of the researcher. You can't do anything about it. They are 4. There's no need adding. Then we have the delimitations of the study. And these are choices that the researcher has made. They are, I call them boundaries, elements that are outside the boundaries of the researcher. You want to look at adolescents, and then you tell yourself that I'm looking at adolescent age 15 to 19. It means that 14 thereabouts are not part. You have set your boundary. That is what we call delimitation. And then finally, you write a proposal. You write a proposal as part of your continuous assessment. A proposal. So we ask what a proposal is, and we say that it outlines all that the researcher intends to do. So it specifies your problem, research problem, the significance, planned procedures for solving the problem. If you are looking for funding, how you are going to seek for the funding, and how much your study will cost. And this is the outline. This is the you see, we have so many outlines when it comes to proposal writing, depending on the funding agency, depending on the school you find yourself, depending on the department, depending on whatever. But this is the outline for the Department of Nursing and then midwifery. So you have the background of the study, where you tell us about you give us overview on current trends of your topic, from the global perspective to the African continent, Sub-Saharan, West Africa, and then Ghana. Overview information on that. Then you write your problem statement, you write your objective, which is the main and the specific. Then you can, if you want to test the hypothesis, you have your hypothesis. If you want to do descriptive, you have research questions, then the justification of the study, and then the definition of terms as you have used them in your work. The justification of the study is why the study. There are so many topics, there are so many problems. Why the study? And then that will be the introduction session. Then the literature review session, you write about how you are going to search for theoretical and empirical studies. Then you come to the methodology. Here, you hold on to this. And then talk about it. So reps, pin this down. When you get to unit 4, then remind me so we come back and talk about this extensively, with the exception of the limitation of the study. Any questions at this point? Any questions at this point? So now let's listen to the life story. The groups will be back on the platform. The group will be back on the platform for you to know your groups. Then I believe some of you have already done your WhatsApp groupings or something already. The preambles of the universes, I will break you into 3. So I have 3 preambles. So a cohort, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4 groups will have 1 preamble. Then subsequent groups will have another preamble. Then subsequent will have another preamble. But all of us are doing independent work. Team deductive, let's say team deductive, exploratory, explanatory, basic, applied. Let's say 5 of you have the same preamble. It doesn't mean that go and work together, no. It means that each group, each of the 5 groups should come out with a different topic. So you are coming out with a different work. No copying. So it means that the cohorts are free to ask each other, please, what topic did you get? So that we don't repeat, because that preamble can give you more than 25 topics. So you do that. Then there will be series of questions and directs. You do all that. And then a template will be sent to you. We'll use the template to key in your findings or whatever work that you have done. That is the first group presentation, and it is scoring. You send it by latest by 5 a.m. on the 17th. We all come here, and randomly a group will be called to do their presentation. That is 17th February. Next week, I am not available. I am bereaved, and here in Ashanti, funeral, it's like even the morning like this, 7 a.m. will be the time that I am hot. So I can't come. I am telling you officially, so that you don't come and sit on this platform and be asked, where is the woman? Where is the woman? I am not coming, please. It doesn't mean that you have failed day. We would have done unit 3, which is literature review. And so it's a reading assignment for everybody. Read when you look at the course outline. It has been given. Those of you who came late, don't come and type, I haven't seen it. It is the responsibility of the reps to pin it back to the platform. And so Maroni et al., pin it back to the platform or carry it to your specific platforms. So what I expect everybody to do is that read on all what is under literature review. When we get the time, we will talk about it. But the next lecture is when the presentation is happening. Learn how to share a slide, please. This is very important to me. Learn how to share a slide using the Zoom. Learn how to share the slide using the Zoom. Get 3 people whose network are very good, please. Network can play tricks. The main facilitator and 2 backup facilitators, so that if the main facilitators network goes, at least the 2 can back up for the group to finish their presentation. Please, when you come here and your group's name is mentioned, I expect you to raise your hand at the participant session. Very important. Sometimes, if your network is playing tricks on you, you cannot raise your hand. It is not me. If you don't know how to raise your hand, please learn it. But there are some people, you see them raising their hand in the chat. I will not do that. I can't even open the chat. The reason being that I will be busy writing names. And please make sure that you hear your name. There are some people, when you call their name, they will be roaming. Then they will come back later and come and tell you that I didn't hear my name. Please, don't respond to the name, but make sure that you hear your name. When you hear your name, then when you are done, I'll say that put your hands down. So when you put your hands down, then I will tell the group to share their slides and do their presentation in some minutes that I will tell them. Then you do that and you are done. Then another group is called. Until all the groups are done, I will not say anything about the presentations. Until all the groups are done, I will not say anything about the presentation. It means that you also will need to have a book and a pen. If group so and so presents and you think that you have a question, you also jot it down. All of us will be jotting our points down until the last group is done. Then we will have the opportunity to clear all our doubts and get the necessary needed information. The reason for this exercise is that I want to make sure that you understand the research process. I want to make sure that the majority of you understands the research process from deriving of a topic to the delimitation of the study. We do this. When we do methodology, we will add on. When we do data collection and analysis, we will add on. And so please, I don't want to teach in abstract. Those of you that when you are giving groups, you don't want to participate, participate, because this thing that you are doing here is exams. Examination, you will find some. You will find a similar thing in exams. So participate. Group presentation, group work is part of teaching. So when they you have been assigned to a group, they have a platform. When you go, please contribute. Contribute, because one day it will be you alone that will have to answer those questions under pressure in exams. I know what I'm talking about. I drummed this and people went to exams and people are getting 1/30, 2/30, 2.5, 3.5, 4. Whilst others are getting 25/30 terms, others are getting 2 and 1 because they didn't participate in the group. When I'm teaching you and whenever there is a group work, please pay attention to it and do it well. Thank you. This morning, we have been trying to look at stating of the problem. And then we said that problem statement should be clearly and concise so that it will not bring in inadequate solutions. And to write a good problem statement, the problem statement should have the gap, which should also constitute the problem discrepancy, the people involved, the what is involved, the when it's involved, and then the magnitude, how much is involved. Then you should have major factors that are likely to contribute to the problem, and then the consequences of the problem. And then you end your problem statement with the purpose of the study, which is probably the most important single sentence in your study, which sets the tone for whatever you are doing and gives you the focus and direction for your research. Then you derive your objective from the research. So you have your main objective, you derive it from the purpose of the study. You have your main objective, and then you break the main objective into smaller components, which is the specific objective, to help you achieve your main objective. And then we also said that researches are without flaws, and as such, every research is limited, and this limitation can come as a result of the design of the research or the methodology used in the research. Whichever way, there is the need to document it as limitations, and limitations are basically things that is outside the control of the researcher, what the researcher cannot do. And then we talked about delimitations, where we said that they are boundaries or they are choices a researcher makes. They are boundaries a researcher sets with regards to what he or she will not do. And then we said that proposals are basically guidelines that tells what a researcher intends to do. And we were showed the outline of writing proposal from the Department of Nursing and Midwifery. This note, I believe that we can end the lecture. Thank you all for the condolence messages. I'm